Hello, everybody. In today's podcast, we have our very good friend Troggy from way back in the D1 days, and we're going to be chatting about the brand new season of Worthy that just came out, and Trials, and good old COVID-19 as well. So, it was a good one. It was really nice just having a chance to sit down and chat, and I hope you guys enjoy. Welcome to the BxPerience. You're still teaching, right?
I am.
So, what has coronavirus done with your work?
That's an interesting question because I actually, we had a long meeting session on probably like a professional day, and I said, hey, we're starting to see some of these schools like closing. Are we going to talk today about what our plan is for that? Because we really hadn't talked about it, and it really is going to affect us, especially in the school system. And they said, well, we have a plan to talk about that on Tuesday, so just hang on and we'll give you some more information. And then I'll wake up to an email this morning saying that our big boss of the district is going to send out an email updating us all today on what is about to happen. So that makes me think that there's going to be a change here. On Friday, they shut down the school districts that are about 30 minutes south of me, and there's a lot of travel between here and there. So I don't know actually what it's about to do.
Yeah, I mean, schools here are closed because we have March break this week. It's our spring 1 week break, and then I think schools are closing for another 2 weeks.
Yeah, I think it's 3 weeks in total for now. They just added like 2 weeks to the already break, and I think some of the breaks started early. But seeing the same thing here.
Ours is mid-April, so like a lot of schools, like you said, it's March break, and they could just say, hey, you know what, go home early, take an extra week on your spring break, everything's fine. But for us, ours is still 3 weeks or 4 weeks away from now. Yes. So they're gonna have to shift some things and move some things.
And the other thing too is in Ontario we've been having teacher strikes for the past almost 2 months, I think, and I think they just recently came to a compromise and figured it out, and then now they're closing for this. So the school year's been very disrupted for kids around here.
Well, and the thing about that too is, do they make up for that time in the summer? How does that affect kids that are graduating and applying to colleges and universities? Their school's not going to be done yet. They're not going to be ready for the deadline. Like it's a lot bigger than what we see.
Great questions. And a lot of, for example, my wife also teaches, and she teaches high school, and I teach elementary, so it's like younger kids. She's much more prepared for this than I am at a facility level, because a lot of their instruction is already online, and she's having to be in a place where they have all of their students have laptops. They do a lot of their submissions online to save paper and resources anyway. So for them, it would be a lot more fluid of a transition. But like half of my student population doesn't have any technology to take home at all. No. So we would have, if we did some sort of teleschool, I'm not even sure how that would even work. So there are a lot of interesting questions, and I'm glad that I'm not the one who has to make those choices and decisions.
For real. Yeah, no, it's kind of crazy. I mean, we were talking about this before, of how this whole thing is making waves. It's not just about who gets sick and who dies or what, or has lasting health effects, because apparently it's even if you get it, you can have 20 to 30% reduced lung function afterwards.
Ooh.
So it's not good, but also how it's going to affect how people work, how people go to school, because it's a shove in the direction of more isolated working and schooling. So I don't know, it's
well, and you your question was how is it affected? The other thing too is they're on a normal basis, not even during a sickness like this. I have kids that are sticking their hands in their mouth and all kinds of they're learning, and there's different things that go on. But the hand washing thing is insane. I've already decided I'm basically a big zone of, activity for something like that. All these, students who see so many people and are in contact with so many people, they all come into one place.
Yeah.
My work. And I'm in a very close contact with them every day. So for me personally, it's kind of like, well, here we are.
Yeah, that's tough, especially with kids. Like, you can't control all the kids in your class 100%.
They're kids. They're doing the best job they can. We're teaching them it, but at the end of the day, they forget, and they don't mean anything by it. But on my end, it's like, hey, can you not, touch your mouth and then touch all my things? That'd be ideal.
that'd be fantastic.
Well, even my sister is in the medical field, and she's out west, and there's a lot of cases out that way, BC, Alberta area. I actually reached out to her this morning. I haven't heard from her yet, but just to see kind of how things are going out there, because she's in a pretty high risk environment as well, and she doesn't have any family out where she is. So I know my family's pretty concerned about her. I know she'll be okay, but it's definitely a lot going on. I don't want to spend too much time talking about it, because I know it's been something that's talked about absolutely everywhere, but
yeah,
I think it's important to touch on it because it's something that's affecting everybody everywhere.
Yeah.
And it probably will be for quite a while.
There's been some lasting changes, and it's what's kind of crazy about this is like, we kind of knew this already, but our generation is going to see some very large changes on a global scale, and we're already seeing that, and this is just another drop in the pond.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Anyways, let's get to Destiny, because Season of the Worthy just dropped very recently. We got Flawless with You on Friday. That was good.
Yeah.
That was a fun run.
That was fun.
That was a lot of fun. Yeah.
What do you think of, I guess, the meta that's kind of emerging with Hardlight and Suros and such?
I don't know. I've been having a lot of been looking at a lot of threads, and I've been watching some people that play a lot of like Sweats and their threads. I've seen a lot of well articulated thoughts, and one of the things that I just at this point currently, I'm just like, hey, just buff all primaries. Like, if we were pre Shadowkeep range nerf on hand cannons, I don't think the hard light would be or the auto rifle buff would be as noticed, because we would still be able to challenge those primaries with a different primary at the relative same range, like and things that you can peek shoot with. But I would just love to see that love that was given to them, like, spread it around a little bit,
Yeah, I feel that.
We played what was the auto rifle? They were using 2 or 3 of them. Like,
yeah, they're using 2 duty bounds, and 1 hard light, and they're, I mean, to preface this, they were very good players as well, and you could tell that they were hitting headshots. But holy cow, like, they just went around as a group of 3 and just team shot the first.
There was
thing
absolutely nothing we could do. I mean, we could have done something. We could have. But it felt like you couldn't do anything. And I was just very surprised to see. I mean, I'm always very surprised to see auto rifles anyways. Less so now. We're mostly seeing Suroses and hard lights. Not really seeing much other than that. So when I see a legendary one that's ripping me apart, it's kind of interesting. I think that Suros is in a good place. I think hard light personally could go down a little bit. It's just very spammy.
Well, I think so. The thing is, with hard light has such a deep magazine for one. In comparison, I mean, I was looking at it, and Monte Carlo has 43. That's not, I mean, so 49.
We haven't seen any Monte Carlos though.
We've seen like
console.
One. But it's basically the same thing. The thing with hard light is you have forgiveness of, you can sometimes randomly hit shots because of bounces, and you can kind of shoot around cover sometimes if there's flat surfaces, and there's unlimited range. So it has a lot of pros. But honestly, like yesterday, I went back to spare rations a little bit, and it was doing really well against hard lights. I think it's a little bit conflated, and I think most people are up in arms about it because it's something that hasn't happened before. We haven't seen auto rifles since Uriel's in D2 hasn't really been that good. And with Uriel's, it's a slower firing gun as well. The faster firing ones always have that intrinsic like well,
honestly, okay, so I think the thing that I always feel is the faster firing ones feel like they don't take skill because they feel very spammy. And that's not to say that's the truth or that's the way it works, but it just feels like all they do is spray bullets at you and then you die, and like they didn't really work for it. And I know that that's not necessarily the case. No. They have to hit them.
There's a little bit of truth to that because the way it's always been is the faster firing you go, the faster the RPM, the less difference there is. With faster firing anything, really, the difference between body shots and headshots gets smaller. For example, like a hand cannon, 150 is 68 head, 43 body, and then as you go faster, like with a 180, it's like 50 something and I don't know, 30 something.
Yeah.
Anyways, for example, like Doctrine of Passing submachine guns, the faster the RPM, the less of a difference there is from the body shot time to kill and the headshot time to kill.
Which makes sense.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
So there's more forgiveness there, and you can hit more bodies, and it will be almost as fast. Because I remember with Doctrine of Passing back in the day, a 900 RPM auto rifle, the body shot time to kill I think was like 0.9 or 0.8, and the headshot was like 0.7. So
oh gosh, I hope they never bring that back. That was so atrocious. So Troggy, go ahead.
Oh, the Doctrine that comes out. And wondering how strong it's going to be.
Oh yeah, so it's going to be it's the Summoner, which is similar looking to the Doctrine but slightly different, and it's a 600 RPM, which is the same as Hardlight and Suros. So it's probably going to be
a monster.
It's going to be pretty good. Yeah, with the right rolls on it, it's probably going to be pretty good. Like that duty bound that they were using had Zen Moment on it, and like if you can start making it a laser, like the more stable you can make one of those, the more ridiculous it is.
If you go to Winding Cove and farm the Lost Sector there in the EDZ where the Seraph Tower spawns, that boss drops Ether Doctor, and mine has like draw and high impact reserves.
Well,
so
I
can
have
like
one of those.
Fire a little bit, and then when I come out of cover and shoot them, I'm doing like a ton of damage.
Damn. That's similar. It's like a legendary. Yeah, it's like a legendary Suros.
I wonder what Misfit's like.
Misfit's a 720, so is it 720 or is it faster?
I don't know. It's very fast though.
Is it fast? Well, so I used one of those. I used a fast firing one the other day, and it melted for sure. It was like auto rifles across the board are good. I think the crazy thing about Hardlight though is the range.
The range and the
it's unlimited, and you can just hit bodies too. Like I've mapped people just hitting bodies for 17 at ranges I should have no business using an auto rifle in. So
I mean, I've been sticking with Crimson mostly. I'm finding it's competing pretty good against most loadouts. Definitely have to be careful with like the sniper lanes, especially when they're at like the far boxes, like outside and stuff. But for the most part, if they're within Crimson range, I can challenge them pretty well. Outgun hard lights, get my health back, which is one of the biggest things that has been helping a lot, because then I can just get right back into the next engagement, which is really helpful.
A lot of the times people are going to be very close together in trials, and they're going to collapse on you.
Yeah, so quickly. Being able to get the first kill, get my health back, then like another one pushes me. I've had a couple like pretty much team wipes where they're all jumping at me, but because I get the kill and I start to get my health back, it actually saves me. So Crimson has been very nice.
Oh yeah.
Statistics wise, or like usage wise, Hardlight Revoker is king right now in trials.
Oh yeah.
Yes, Revoker is ridiculously strong.
Revoker, I've got to learn to play better against snipers because it is not going away anytime soon.
So on this map, it's almost easier for a patient player.
Yes.
Because inside control is where the zone is, and it's very easy to bounce in between those three doors. especially if your opponents aren't quite adept at picking when the rotators are down. Because that's the thing, is you do have a window. When the rotators are down, that's when you want to push inside if you're stuck outside. But if people are going to snipe, they're usually going to try to play outside. They're usually going to try to play for picks, and you just play patient and hold inside with your primaries. And
we did that yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
Was it yesterday or Friday?
Yesterday we did that a bunch.
Yeah. I
Just
mean, people
I took the sniper off because I was tired. So that's the thing. It's like I'm pretty good at sniping, but when I'm tired, I'm definitely not. So I just take it off, throw a shotgun on, and play primary.
Shotgun's so easy, bro.
Oh, it's just the skills needed are not as...
It's not as finessed.
It's not as finessed. It's a lot of... Especially now, honestly, because... they are more consistent in close in their optimal ranges, and then slightly outside of that, you're going to be playing shotgun with primary, swapping back and forth, and using movement, which to me is a lot easier to do when I'm tired.
Troggy, how do you feel about the power level advantage?
I don't know. To be honest, I would personally prefer it to be gone.
Yeah.
Because, like, I played... there are people that have just picked up Trials again because Trials came back. They just picked up Destiny again and grinded to Bear 960, who are much, much better shots, much better players than me, but I had a huge advantage over them because I'm 10-10 now, or 10-08 or whatever.
Yeah.
And I could see the disadvantage. I understand that it's a pinnacle PvP activity, but, like, Trials has kind of a way of sorting out who should go flawless and who shouldn't on its own without the power level. You know, like if you get stomped by a team, you're gonna get stomped by a team. I don't think we need the 40 power gap to make it feel special, you know?
As a PvP player, primarily PvP player, up until now, we haven't really had a reason to grind power. Because even when we're not max power, we can do the raids. We can do pretty much everything except for the Master Nightfall, which I didn't really care to do anyways. So I wasn't grinding pinnacles. I had no reason to grind power. Even Iron Banner wasn't really a huge fan. We might play a little bit, but it was never a problem because we had the artifact. Yeah. We were getting experience on the artifact and power levels on the artifact from playing PvP. So for me, it gives me a reason to do those things and want power and grind that so that I have an advantage and am where I need to be to play the PvP activity that I want. And that's something I haven't really had in Destiny 2 at all.
Mm-hmm.
So would you view that as a net positive experience for you personally?
For me personally, yes. I would be okay if there was no power advantage, but I think it's important for me to feel as though I have a reason to do those activities.
That's cool.
Well, I think with the when they disable the artifact and then instill some sort of power cap, hopefully it's something like, I don't know, 10-20 or something like that, right?
I think that's necessary.
I think that'll overall be a better experience, because I know if you're 960, you're gonna have problems against 1Ks, but if you're 980, it really doesn't make that much of a difference. It's pretty negligible. So that's not too much of an ask, I don't think, to get from 960 to 980, right?
Yeah. It's just because it's the first weekend, right?
Yeah. And thankfully it's just the first weekend. Like, people haven't really had a chance to get to like 1030 or something ridiculous, right? It's just like not
hopefully
feasible.
They'll be able to make changes while they're working remotely.
I think they did already mention that their plan moving forward is to do something like that, either disable the artifact until they can put in a cap.
Well, they 100% are disabling the artifact.
Yeah.
So 100%, this is the last weekend of Trials, or the last weekend of Trials, with the artifact power enabled. It's going to be disabled until they find a fix.
Yeah. And
they already mentioned their tentative fix. Right now, their idea going forward is to put some sort of power cap to the max light level that is going to be effective. So whether that's slightly above pinnacle cap or not, we'll find out.
This kind of relays into something that I wanted to ask you, Troggy. How do you feel about our power level being over 1,000?
It is interesting having 4 numbers. It
Right?
kind of sort of goes to the like power creep thought, you know, like
Yeah.
if we've
Yeah.
crossed 1,000 now, like what's to stop us from going? Like where are we gonna? Are we just gonna keep going up forever? And then in like Destiny 3, we're at level 6,000. Like I'm not sure.
Yeah, because I think WoW, like World of Warcraft, I think they had to reset their numbers down. It had just gotten so high that when you're looking at damage numbers, then you're looking at like they literally had to put K's and M's for millions and thousands because the numbers were too big, and then they dropped it right down. I don't know whether Destiny 2 will get to that point or not.
Well, I mean, they've already kind of been at that point and shifted it a few times. It is definitely very strange seeing 4 numbers. And I haven't even gotten a gear piece that's 4 numbers yet. That's gonna look weird.
I have. It's so weird. Our recluse is 1,000 now, and I'm like, ah.
It's a lot of numbers to look at. I have a feeling that they're going to make some changes in the next like 6 months to a year, I think.
You think so?
Yeah, I think they're gonna shift it all. It depends though. It depends how
Well,
many
we just got here though.
we did.
Like we can languish at 1,100 and for a little bit.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
I do think they're gonna reduce it though. Just looking at how they've dealt with things in the past.
Yeah. I guess the question is how what the future of Destiny is going to look like. Are they going to do another title? Like, are they going to
Well, that's a good question because they already have another
IP
coming out,
2025,
right?
think.
So, is there a Destiny 3 coming out between then, or is this what we get?
I don't know. Don't know. It's been a good run so far though.
It more, because I don't know if I like the content structure since the season pass has come out personally.
Yes.
I like that. Some people don't like the fact that the obelisks and the Warmind bunkers are essentially the same thing. Personally, it's different activities. I don't mind it, and I think it's similar enough that I can understand what I'm supposed to do. The season pass makes sense to me.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think we need a new, as long as they keep giving us new, fresh, and ideas like with this structure. I think they could keep this 2 thing going for a while without having to restart on a new.
Yes.
I don't think they would restart and put Destiny 3 unless they needed to update the engine.
So my theory on because like I've seen a lot of talk of there's like with whatchamacallit, what was the last season, the Sundial, there's just more stand on plates and kill hordes of enemies, and there's a boss at the end, blah blah blah. But like, how many systems can you really have? You know, like how many mechanical like PvE systems really are there? You can't really make up new. It's not like, oh, here's a new PvP game mode every season.
No,
right?
and I mean most games that are replayable have literally like this repeatable things that you just do the same thing all the time. That's the way it works. You can't constantly have new things coming out, right? That kind of leads into something that I wanted to talk about, which was I've there's been a good amount of people that are not content with the story. And yep.
Dog.
Yeah, dog.
That aren't content with the story, and they wish there was more. Hi Bonsai. Hey. They wish there was more. They wish there was more going on, more story missions. But to me, I mean, Destiny has a story, but it's never really been that fleshed out. There's always been gaps and stuff that you're kind of expected to read in the lore to like fill in pieces. And
I feel like the tradition of the story of Destiny is they give you a little bit here, a little bit there, but they don't stick you into like 2 hours of cutscenes overall over a campaign with a linear storyline that you have to do story missions for like 8 hours. You know what I mean? That it's never been that type of game.
It's never been that way.
It's always been you kind of play it your own way.
Yes.
And you fill in the gaps yourself. It's like you actually have to use your imagination a little, God forbid. And do a little digging yourself, you know?
I think for me, like, I mean, I wish that Destiny had a little bit of that as well, but I understand why they don't, and I don't expect them to ever have that. And if I want a story game,
there's other story games.
I'm gonna go play a story game and immerse myself in something else, and then come back to Destiny and be happy that I didn't have to do it there. Because there's so many other activities to do. Like, I don't really feel like I want to spend, you know, all this time in a story when there's all this other stuff for me to do. I was super overwhelmed actually this past week trying to do all of my powerful weeklies.
There's a lot to do.
There's so much more than you think. I mean, it's not just Gambit and Strikes and PvP and your Flashpoint. Like, those are the ones that first come to your mind.
That's all we had before.
That's all we had before, but now you have all your stuff on your moon and your nightmare hunts and your daily Shadowkeep story or your weekly Shadowkeep story and your Ordeal Nightfall, your 100Ks, your master this, your master that. Like, it's actually insane.
Your heroic adventure.
The heroic adventure.
It's a lot.
Yeah, it's a lot. Your legendary lost sectors. The bounty ones from the tower.
There's 2 different ones for Crucible, just doing core and rotating.
Right?
Like,
I didn't get them all done on any character. I mean, it was kind of, and that's not complaining. I think it's great that there's lots of options.
Yeah.
Because
you can do what you want.
You can do what you want. I didn't play Gambit. I didn't feel like it, so I just didn't do it. I like that. I like that I can jump into Crucible to level up my Guardian at the beginning of the season. Mm-hmm. Valor and Glory drops are insane. Yeah. It's like a power drop every sub level or sub rank up, which happens very, very quickly. It's one of the fastest ways to level up, I think. And I like that I can do the things that I want to level up. But I did find it very overwhelming this past week.
I wanted to go back to the story for a second.
Yeah, sure.
Here are my thoughts on the story. I've always been a primarily PvE player, and I'll admit that the concept of this is not like, could they have come up with a better concept? Probably. However, to me, this is a PvP season, and it's been well-deserved, and it's been long-awaited. Like, to me, Trials has come back, initially, been a big hit. I hope that as the weeks go on and we see more maps and more things play out, that this is, like, your heyday. Like, this is, like, everything you guys have been wanting. And if that is achieved, then I don't care about the PvE story. Like, if you guys get what you've been waiting for a long time in Destiny 2 for, that thing that you've been seeking, PvE's had their time. They can sit and wait. And yes, they're the loudest and the noisiest and the most annoying when it comes to complaining. But they can sit down, okay? Because y'all have been quietly sitting over here for a really long time. And now it's your turn.
Yeah, yeah, thanks for that, because that's 100%. And it's like someone was talking about the other day, and they're like, "Oh, all that came back was Trials." And like, did you look at the patch notes? Like the sandbox changes plus adding in everything else. You know how much work that took? My God, like.
Well, and the thing is, I mean, Trials has been completely redone.
Yeah.
Like, I understand it's 3v3 elimination and 7 wins instead of 9, but those other 2 didn't really count because of the boons. But when you look at the way that they have put it together, the fact that you have this new lighthouse that you can go back to. Yeah. We haven't even talked about that yet. Like, the fact that that's farmable. Like, we can go there and we can get end game materials like Ascendant Shards and Enhancement Prisms. That's something PvP players haven't had. A repeatable, farmable thing that they can work towards. The passages are really cool. There's like 4, 5, 6 different passages that you can get. That's new. Saint 14 and the bounty system is new. That bounty system is really cool. If you guys haven't like seen how it works yet. Basically, you can pick up bounties from Saint 14. They're repeatable, and you
They're
can
all
just keep
across fire team too, aren't they?
they're yeah, I think all of them are fire team. So if people in your fire team are completing them, you're getting it done. And you get tokens. Your tokens expire every week, which I think is really cool, because that means every week you have to play if you want to farm the items that you're getting.
And you can't just stockpile them and wait till it's the rotation of the weapons that you want, and
right?
then dump them all. Like, it's...
And you can only earn stuff from handing in tokens that you've already earned. Yep. So unless you have made it to the lighthouse and earned all of those things,
to 7 wins, or
yeah,
5
you're not going
wins
to get the gear and the weapons. And I think that that's a really cool system. I'm really glad that you can, 1, farm the tokens, and 2, hand in and get different roles. Like, it gives you a reason to keep playing. The fact that you can farm the chest, keep playing, we can play with lots of different people, be rewarded, and help them get what they're looking for. I just think they did a really good job. I think they really hit it on the head.
Yeah, well, so I just want to kind of back up to the end game leveling materials. So with enhancement cores, enhancement prisms, and ascendant shards, to get 1 enhancement prism, it's 10 enhancement cores. To get 1 ascendant shard, it's 10 enhancement prisms. So effectively, an ascendant shard is 100 enhancement cores. Before we even had things like Pit, getting enhancement cores, unless you played a whole bunch and never used them, I played a decent amount, but I used a bunch of mine on masterworking stuff. There was no good source for it. And then Pit came, and that's probably your best farmable source, but you can only do, what, 3 a week, 1 per character. And Master Nightfalls, or Nightfalls in general, they're both PvE activities. And then the closest thing that we had was when you hit Legend Valor rank, you get 10 enhancement cores. 10. Only 10. And that's getting from 0 to 2,000, which takes approximately, I don't know. Depends. Let's say like
a couple hours,
20.
though.
Yeah, a few hours, like 20-ish games maybe. Whereas going flawless, you get pretty much a guaranteed triple drop of enhancement prism, so that's 30. And a chance at a prism, which is 100. So you can technically get like 130 enhancement cores in sometimes under an hour.
Did you guys get prisms from the chest?
You can. There's a chance of getting a prism.
I got 3 prisms and an enhancement core.
Oh, sorry, shards.
Not the core,
ascendant.
The enhancement.
The ascendant shard.
Yeah. I got an ascendant shard and 3 prisms one time.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's crazy. So I think it's guaranteed you get 3 prisms. I could be wrong, because I've gotten 3 prisms every time.
I haven't.
Oh, okay.
I haven't. When I went,
but I've had a shard pretty much every time.
So you must have got really lucky, because you got the weapon, the armor, 3 prisms, and 1 shard. Like,
it was insane. I mean, and that's without the bonus card.
Yeah,
like, there's a card that gives you bonus loot from the chest.
The bonus is just 1 more piece of gear.
Is it?
Yeah, I was looking that up earlier, which is still fine. I mean, I wouldn't expect it to give you double drop of everything, because you get so much from it. But
no, I think it's something that we've been waiting for. Like Troggy said, like, it's been a long time. I don't know how long Trials has been gone, but it's been like, got to be somewhere around 2 years that we've been waiting, and been very, very patient and consistently playing regardless of kind of where PvP's been at. And I think there will be a lot more positive changes coming overall to everything in the next few seasons.
Yep.
And before, if I said, "Hey, Jess, let's go farm shards, ascendant shards in Nightfalls," she would bang her head against the desk, because that's like PvE activity that you have to do over and over, and you might maybe get this one thing, but to her that's a waste of time, and to you that's a waste of time. But now you can just hone your craft. You could take people, you could play with your friends, you could own your elimination craft, own your shot, and still get that same reward while also practicing and helping people. Like, that's a win-win.
It's
dream
great.
Come true.
It is, though, for real, though.
One of the things we've said repeatedly when we talk about Trials coming back, like in the past 6 months or so, we were like, I really hope it has pinnacle gear and pinnacle endgame leveling materials, please. And here we are. So
to be honest, I did not expect farmable chests.
no,
I thought it was going to be
surprise.
one
I
per
was
week
hoping for it, and I'm so happy.
per character.
Because
Yeah,
that fits in with
yeah.
the Nightfall thing too. Like you can do Nightfalls over and over. You should be able to do something over and over too.
Yes.
Well, it makes so much sense now. Like I probably could have deduced that as if I saw the triumph for taking someone to the lighthouse who hasn't been before when after you have. Like the Trials Sherpa one, Lighthouse Sherpa.
That's so cool they added
That's
that in
so
too.
cool.
I don't like that I have to wear the emblem to get
Yeah.
it to count. That's kind of silly. I don't know why it counts that way, but whatever. I like the emblem, so I'll wear it.
Cool. It's pretty crazy, so I'll probably just keep it on.
Yeah, I
all
think
my
I'm just gonna
characters,
keep it
and
on.
That's all I'm gonna wear.
So swapping over to kind of like PvE, because you did a lot of PvE grind to get ready for the weekend. How did you feel about how do you feel about like the bunker system and the Seraph towers and stuff?
So Tuesday, I was all in on the new content. I thought that might be the best way to grind, and so I played a lot of bunkers, did a lot of bounties. It was very repeatable. It was kind of tiresome. And then I realized very quickly, like, hey, this is not getting me the power that I needed.
Yeah.
So then I kind of switched over to milestones and the Crucible Gambit, strikes, moon stuff. And at this point, I think we need a refresh on the power grind. I think we need to come in here and shake the spice cabinet around and give us some new rewards or new reward sources. I think just doing the same things every launch is getting kind of stale. I'd love to see them shake up what sources in the game give you pinnacle loot, because there are a lot of them in the game. There's still we didn't do anything with any kind of Dreaming City. There's a ton of raids that sit around that don't do anything.
Yeah, forgot about Dreaming City.
Like I would love to see other activities in the game. Maybe a forge. Hey, those Black Armory forges that are sitting there, maybe those will give you a power tier 1 drop if you do 2 of them or something, like rotating things around so it's not always the same thing.
What if you had like a weekly rotation of like 2 or 3 activities that would normally give you powerful gear, but they crank up like the power level on it and make it give you pinnacle gear? Like what if you had like a blind well pinnacle?
What things are powerful and what things are pinnacle depending on what day of what week of the month it is.
That would be interesting. Or even like how the Dreaming City has different curse weeks. Yeah. Like maybe on high curse week and it drops powerful gear. You can go to blind well and it will drop you a powerful. I like that idea. Just having some different things, because there are a lot of things. The reality is like there are a lot of PvE things in Destiny right now to do. There is so much. Like I've been telling people for the longest time that Destiny 2 is in so much of a better spot for PvE than Destiny 1 ever was. Yeah. So much content, so many different raids, forges, menagerie, your strikes, Gambit was introduced. Like there's so much content. But it does get repeatable when you're constantly working on the same things. So it would be really nice to go back to the Dreaming City and have a reason to, and go back into the forges and go to Menagerie and maybe maybe rotate the raids.
What if you had,
like, remember they did that in Destiny 1? Like each raid, there was like a weekly heroic, like, that would drop
I would love
powerful
to see
gear.
for the summertime an event a la like Age of Triumph where like, whatever garden gives you your pinnacle gear, but also we're going to rotate. 1 week it's going to be Leviathan, we'll give you some gear. 1 week it's going to be Eater of Worlds. 1 week it's going to be Spire. 1 week it's going to be Last Wish. That would be super cool.
I think that would be really
I don't
cool.
think it would be that hard to do either. I mean, I don't know a lot about coding, but it's already in there. They just have to create some sort of schedule, right?
Just turn up
where
the power
yeah.
And the last 2 seasons have had so many cool builds for PvE. Like with the Charge with Light stuff, you could do the no primary build from last season was so much fun. Where you just run around fusion rifling and shotgunning things and you never run out of ammo. And this season we have the Warmind Cell build, which I haven't personally tried out yet.
Yeah, so Silent was saying that that's like really, really strong.
Yeah.
It's
He said he
really
shot
strong.
one and killed like 20
Basically, if you have
things.
the exotic helmet for the warlock and the final slot of mods from the
Oh.
artifact, you can spawn these like orbs that when you shoot them will explode and like damage and debuff everything around you.
Bomb.
And
Does
so
that
you're just
count as a
constantly
melee?
like spawning and exploding things. It's really fun.
I'll have to try that out. I got that exotic helmet this past week.
Yeah, there's so many different pieces of gear and mod combinations and weapon combinations in Destiny 2 now. It's kind of ridiculous. And as PvP players, we definitely don't utilize all of them. Like I'm a little ADD with my loadouts, and I'll try all kinds of random stuff, but at the end of the day,
I take my PvP loadout into PvE most of the time, unless we're raiding. So I don't even change my weapons most of the time. We're doing a
Crimson
strike.
shotgun for
All right,
Callus.
Crimson Mindbenders. Like, for real though, I don't. I mean, unless I'm doing a specific activity, I generally don't really.
My go-to
Swap it
loadout
up.
for any activity is Mountaintop, Hard Light, Wendigo. I can
Yep.
take that into anything that I want to do right now, and it's
Yeah.
probably going to be
well, hard like here. That's the other thing is I was using Hardlight a bunch in PvE while we were leveling and stuff, and it's actually so viable right now
Shred
for
stuff,
a
dude.
bunch
It's
of
really
different
good.
reasons. Like one,
Well, and the elements change.
yeah. So you can switch to whatever shield you need to break. You can shoot through enemies, so if they're stacked up, you're going to be killing multiples that you can clear adds with an auto rifle very, very quickly. And then two, I found out that the the bouncing damage is like significantly higher than the precision damage of a normal shot. So if I can get a good angle, I'll just shoot at the ground and bounce it off into enemies, and it does more than if I was headshotting them normally.
Mm-hmm.
So
How would you guys feel about them adding a seasonal mod slot to exotic weapons that would let them have the barrier mods of their archetype?
I've been wanting that for a long time.
yes.
Because I get
Yeah.
that they're exotics
I've heard
and they're
that.
special by themselves, but the fact that I can't really use some exotics in PvE because I need a specific damaging, like anti-barrier, unstoppable, makes me kind of sad. I would love to use Sunshot in Nightfalls, but I kind of can't
Yep.
because I can't use a
Mhm.
staggering weapon.
Yep. I feel that.
Yeah, that kind of makes a bunch of restrictions that don't really feel all that good. Because like if you really wanted to, you kind of could, but say you need unstoppable and anti-barrier, then you're going to need to use something anti-barrier in your primary, and then like a Leviathan's Breath. That's like what you're stuck with. So I think that is probably the best case, but I'm not really sure how I feel about the anti-barrier unstoppable overload swapping each season. I don't know, it almost feels like they're just forcing you to play with certain weapons per season.
Yeah, like forcing a
are.
meta change.
Yeah.
But if you notice in like the little tips that scroll across the screen now, they've added champions like that as official like enemy type now. So they're recognizing that those champions are just like types of enemies in Destiny. And I think that was originally when they came out, it was like specifically for the certain content, but now it's just like, hey, they are in the game now. That is a thing that Destiny has.
Yeah.
That's fair.
A little bit of a subject change, but this was the first season where we didn't really have any pinnacle or ritual weapons. I think there's going to be an Iron Banner one.
It's
what I
a
hear.
bow, I think, or maybe that's just a new.
But
Oh.
it's just,
Blaze.
I
If it's a
found
bow, I
that
hope it's so good.
that was one of the most surprising things to me, because they had like, they kind of did the pinnacle thing with, we had Redrix and then Luna's and Not Forgotten and stuff. And then there wasn't really anything new for 5500 for a very long time, which was kind of interesting. And
Still
then
isn't.
there still isn't. And then they decided that they didn't want to do pinnacles because they were too strong. So they rolled back to rituals and made them easier. And then we only had like 2 sets of rituals?
So my theory is that if we don't get anything introduced mid-season, which there's a possibility that it will, there's definitely going to be pinnacles next season, and pinnacles and possibly rituals. I'm not sure, because they were talking about how when they're changing this whole legendary weapon system to give them an expiration like period of 9 to 15 months, they're talking about that also in respect to having pinnacle weapons that are much stronger, like back when Luna's was really strong, Redrix was really strong. They want that to be the case again and not have to worry about them being overly dominant for too long.
Yeah, because they're forced to change.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay, so maybe they're just kind of taking a look at it and figuring out where they're going next with it.
Yeah, and I think they wanted to get the foundation right first. Yeah. They wanted to get trials right. They wanted to get the meta sorted, sandbox sorted.
It was also interesting looking at the titles for this season. This is the first season that hasn't had a collections.
Yeah.
There's no collections badge, which I'll be honest, I'm kind of happy about. I've grinded all of the seasonal titles so far, and the collections badge can be kind of a lot. And those titles were a lot of work. A lot of the time they took a lot of grind. Yep. And the titles that we're looking at now look like they're far less, but a little bit more challenging. Like it's more stuff that you need to work for and less like grindy stuff.
That's what I'd like to see. Go for it. Sorry.
Did you know that you no longer need a flawless run for the Enlightened seal?
Yeah, so we were chatting about that actually in Discord.
They took it out.
I think it was Average Zombie said that apparently it was a bug for months and months and months.
As soon as they removed it, I realized that it was never meant to be in there. They never intended for the shader to be for the collections badge or whatever, for that to be part of it. They didn't want the flawless raid to be in it, but unfortunately, because of collections and that part of it, it ended up making it in there. So they took the shader off of the requirement. So now, like, we could do those challenges, and you don't have to do a flawless raid, and you can get your Enlightened seal.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, so we were talking about that the other day, and there were some people that were saying like, hey, I feel like it should be like flawless should be part of all of the raid seals. And for me, the reason that I stay away from them is because I don't want to deal with flawless for the most part. Most of the seals that have required putting like a good team together where I have to rely on a lot of other people, I've stayed away from. The Menagerie one, the flawless ones. Just because, like, I mean, we don't play a lot off stream. I don't have a lot of time for that. And I don't really want to set aside time for it. So anything that doesn't make sense for me to grind on stream, or I can kind of just do myself, I've stayed away from. But I mean, at the same time, like if you're looking at trials as an equivalent to like these raid ones, and Unbroken and stuff, like, yeah, Unbroken's pretty hard to get. You got to get Legend 3 times. You might as well have an equivalent of something like that in the raid ones. So
what if there was a seal to do 3 different raids flawless, and that was like the only requirement? Yeah. Or it could be more. Well, I mean, there's more raids now.
I don't know. I think I'm okay with it either way, however they do it, to be honest. I don't really care.
If you're a sweaty PvE person and you want a seal that you like is legit and you have to go flawless, then you go get Ribbonsbane. Like,
yes.
There are so few Ribbonsbanes, and that is such a great pinnacle PvE journey. Like, I am the most proud of my Ribbonsbane seal of all the ones that I have, because you have to like really go after that one. And they have that stuff. They have several. There's a Ribbonsbane seal. There's a Blacksmith seal. There's a Shadow seal. If they want to go sweat, they can go do that. Yeah,
that's fair. I am happy that there's a trials seal.
Yeah,
I'll tell you that, because for the longest time we had one PvP seal.
I'm kind of surprised there's no Iron Banner seal.
Yeah,
I think there will be before the end of the year. I think before our next big September October drop, I think there will be one in the summer.
This is a totally different thing, but do you guys think that we're gonna see the pyramid ships come back?
I hope so.
I really want it to be a destination.
Yeah,
well, like the Dreadnought.
If you remember back to the Vidoc, back in, like, before Shadowkeep even launched, they said, like, like, guys, Shadowkeep is going to be cool. We're so excited, but you really, really, really need to be here for the summer. They've been very upfront about the fact that whatever's coming summertime, they are the most proud of. So I'm all here for it. I kind of hope it's just us punching pyramid ships in the face or something. Like I'm all here for it.
So here's let's recap real quick here. So we had Shadowkeep.
Yeah.
We had basically the Hive were trying to take over the moon, and there's this pyramid ship thing in the bottom of the moon. Undying, we had the Vex show up.
Yeah.
And I don't know what was the story there. That was Osiris. I don't know. Messing.
There was no Osiris.
No, Osiris wasn't.
I actually don't really remember the story from Undying. The story portion.
Vex were appearing on the moon.
Oh, that's right.
It was part of the Undying Mind's attempt to rebuild certain things, because back in the Destiny 1, like the Undying Mind, his job was to go and like rebuild timelines and things that we had messed up. And so we had to take care of that, because we can't have him undoing things that we've already done.
And then
now we've got the Cabal.
And because he is overcharged of all these timelines, when we slaughtered him in all those different areas throughout allegedly every existence in every existing timeline, because the Black Garden exists outside of space and time, that shattered things on our reality. That's why the Sundial was able to basically be abused by the Cabal.
Gotcha. And then now we got the Cabal trying to smash the Almighty into Earth.
Yeah, basically, they said, okay, you beat us, but here's this giant thing. We're going to crash into your city.
So they mentioned that all of this stuff is culminating in season 11 and coming together. So we've seen all three. I guess we've kind of seen a little bit of Fallen now that we're on Earth, but not really. I feel like that's just partially proximity with what we're dealing with.
Yeah.
Because I don't know, unless you know of any Fallen story bits that are coming in the season, or that have come in this season.
No, I don't know of any Fallen anything.
So that makes me think, with this kind of theme that we've got going on, that season 11 is going to be Fallen themed, or have to deal with the Fallen. And I'm wondering whether we get into a situation with everyone pushing against us.
Imagine they're all working together.
Well, the pyramid's making them, but we don't even know what these dang pyramids are.
So that pyramid ship, is that part of the original ships from the Leviathan?
No. So
no,
well, yes and no. It was like they got shown around that time though. So
like remember at the end there was a bunch of ships.
Yeah. So those are the pyramid ships, and they got alerted to the Traveler blowing up, or sending, not blowing up, but sending out a pulse of light. So they finally showed up. Yes, and I believe
Travel in the darkness have been fighting for a long time. And the Traveler beating what was his name? Dominus Gaul. Yeah, when Dominus Gaul rose up and the Traveler had to wipe him away, that explosion kind of alerted them of our presence there. The main little fleet that we saw in that cutscene is coming this way, but it also shook loose that pyramid ship that was on the moon that was down there, and that's how we kind of Eris started to poke her head around there and found it. But if you go back, I've seen it, there's like a drawing of like the earliest sketches of Destiny, and there are 5, there's Fallen, there's Hive, Cabal, there's Taken, and there was like, and I might have left one out, the Vex. They also had a like yellow little segment of it, and it had a pyramid ship, and it had this entity, like this shadowy entity that you couldn't really make out. They didn't really fully draw the person, but you could see those pyramid ships in the design, and that was supposed to be like a 5th or whatever number it is now, like enemy type. Like that was always part of the concept before Destiny was even created.
Interesting. That has me excited. I don't tend to dive too much into Destiny story because we're so involved in all the other stuff that's going on. But I think Shadowkeep was my favorite DLC story ever in Destiny.
Yep.
Just super creepy. The music was great. The atmosphere was awesome. We got to deal with Crota again and all these cool little things that they threw in. I love Eris Morn. She's one of my favorite characters. And overall, it was just super, super mysterious and enjoyable. So I hope that we get to deal with that again soon. Next big release, probably.
I'm not sure if we're talking about purely story things, but the whole Forsaken experience to me was just unparalleled.
Forsaken was very good. Dope. I think I've always loved the moon as well. That was one of my favorite destinations in Destiny 1. I wasn't too keen on losing Cade. I thought he was a really good character, and I mean,
the fact that we got to that whole segment and they're like, oh, by the way, here's this whole other space we didn't even show you guys yet. Have fun.
Yeah.
I think people kind of forget about how content release pacing works with other games, because other games would release a sequel maybe every year, if not over multiple years, whereas Destiny is just, I don't know, they're just pumping it out. Yeah, especially with this season's model,
we had some people that were saying they didn't they can't afford to play Destiny, but they wanted the content, and I'm like, there is so much content that's free. You don't even need the base game. You're free to play is so much content. And I think their DLCs are fairly reasonably priced. It's what, $10 a season? Oops. And that's 3 months worth of content.
Yeah.
I mean, if you don't play PvP, it's going to be less.
Yeah.
But if you embrace PvP and at least play it a bit and replay some of the stuff that's there, it's a super affordable hobby, especially when you're looking at...
I was thinking about that today.
Yeah.
I'm a cross-save player, so I've bought it. I bought the deluxe editions on both consoles. I dropped a fair amount at the beginning of October, and I am still using that content all the way in March, and it's going to last me all the way around to the next year. So, as a single purchase, though, I've gotten so much mileage out of it.
Oh, yeah. Easily.
When we take, we did this even before, this was just with Destiny 1. When we took what we spent on Destiny 1 and how many hours we put into Destiny 1, it was 0.001 cents per hour.
Yeah.
It's basically almost nothing. It's almost free at that point.
Yeah, it was pretty ridiculous.
And then if you take something let's take Hellblade, for example. Amazing game, very well crafted, very well put together. Your playthrough was what, 4 hours, 5 hours?
Oh, no. I mean, I play through things pretty slow. It was probably at least 10
hours,
10 to 12 at least. Yeah,
for a $40 game.
Yeah. It's on Game Pass now, but at the time we bought it, I think it was about $20 when we bought it. I think it was on sale.
It was on sale, but it'd be a $40-$50 game easily. That's already multitudes more expensive than what we paid for Destiny. So.
Well, that's one of the reasons that I've been gravitating towards Game Pass games for daytime streams and stuff, because if I can find things that are on there that chew up a week at a time, boom. We're already paying for Game Pass. There's tons of awesome games on there. You really just need to look a little bit, and they're there. The new Ori just came out. I'm really excited to play that. I'm glad that's on Game Pass.
That got released on Game Pass.
You playing Hellblade last week made me really want to get Game Pass. I was like, wait, there's all these things
so
she's playing.
good.
She's just scrolling. What do I want to play today? I was like, I really should be investing in this.
It's not even that expensive either.
It's not that
it's
because
crazy.
You can get Ultimate with it, where it combines with your Live, and I think it's $15 a month.
An extra $5,
and you can buy chunks of it. You can buy a whole year of it, and it's just, I mean, if you're only really playing Destiny, I get it, but if you ever have the itch to play something completely different, I can just scroll through and be like, what do I want to play? Like, what do I want to do? Then there's strategy games on there. There's story games. There's horror games. There's tabletop games.
There's little indie games.
There's indie
RPGs,
games, platformers.
anything.
Like, it's a really good buy. I just wish they'd throw in like a mixer sub or something.
Yeah.
You know, that'd be bomb.
Yeah. Going back to like Destiny PvE stuff, have you done Legendary Lost Sectors? What are those like?
I did one.
Okay, because we haven't done one yet.
Now that it's like 1,000 or something like that light, or 1,010 light or something. It's pretty hefty.
Mm-hmm.
And you need barrier and anti-barrier and unstoppable mods. But
is it basically just the same setup as the Lost Sector, just with more difficult enemies?
Yeah, and it's tough. Me and Mysterious went in on the first day. We were like 985, 986. We're like, this is fine. No, we got our blocks clean. We went in and tried to 2-man it. We ended up, like, we were on PC. We ended up messaging, but I was like, can you please come in here and bring a recluse or something? Like, we need anti-barrier. And it took us probably 15 minutes. We were like 986. Now I'm well over 1,000. I'm probably going to do another one today and see if the difficulty is the same.
Yeah.
But I know they're releasing more of them as time goes on. And I have not really, like I said, the Warmind stuff I haven't got to really jump in yet. I've been focused so much on trying to get to play this weekend. I think there's going to be some loot associated with it, which makes me excited.
Yeah, I'm actually curious to see what they do with the loot for that. And is it like, how do you make it? Do you just make it legendary? Is there like a thing?
So you clear out the bunker for Rasputin, and then in the bunker you activate the legendary Lost Sector.
Oh, okay.
And I'm not sure if they rotate or if it's the same one. I'm really not sure. But I can tell you that I am really not here for Fallen champions. Because the Fallen captains, like they already like teleport, right? But when they are champions, they teleport all the time.
Yeah,
and those overload captains are cleaning my clock. Let me tell you what.
I saw a post on that, and like that teleporting enemies has always kind of triggered me a little. Ever since the first Minotaur that I fought in D1.
It's fine because Anarchy's back, so.
And you still need to get that.
I mean,
we probably should do a Scourge at some point.
Scourges are so fat. Like once you get a group of people, which we have now, like we have a group of people that can say, "Hey, let's do this really quickly." You can knock out a Scourge in 30 minutes without even blinking. I've run them in 7.
Yeah, probably should do that.
So, but those were with like speedrunners and stuff.
You're saying 7?
Yes, I have run like a 7 or 8 minute Scourge. It was the craziest thing I've ever done in my entire life.
Do that.
They killed one captain and cheesed all the orbs. Then they pulled us through Sparrow. Then they got, I don't know how you do it, but they cheesed the tank part with one person. And then they literally cheesed the balls again, and then we just nuked him. It was, I blinked and I was like, what just happened? Was that LG group?
That's wild. Huh. Yeah, I'll have to look at it. It's bugging me that I don't have Anarchy, and that slot is grayed out in my collections. But we'll get it done, right, babe? We'll do a Scourge one day.
Yeah, one day. I don't know why I don't like that raid. Like,
Troggy was saying that he had a bunch of speedrunners on LFG run it in 7 minutes.
It's fast.
7 minutes.
If you guys want to carry me through it in 7 minutes, I can put that time aside. But
since this is going on the internet, I looked at my raid report. It was 12 minutes, but that's still pretty fast.
Okay, 12 minutes. That's
12
crazy.
minutes is still pretty fast.
That's wild. It's the Seraph Towers. What do you think of that little public event thing?
I like it. It's interesting because you're only allowed to have 3 people in a patrol space, so you have to rely on people other than you to really do this. And then typically I don't like doing that, especially since the way that event works. Like if any ad steps in that red square, it doesn't charge the tower and shoot the orbs out. So you have to trust blueberries to shoot things that sometimes turn invisible and make sure that nothing touches the square. But I've cleared a fair amount of them, so it's not like it's impossible.
Yeah, now that once I learned about the red square thing, I realized that it's really not that hard at all. Like everyone just basically you just get everyone should stack on the zone. You just stand there. If there's red near you, start meleeing it. I don't know. If you can't see it, throw nades at the ground. I don't know. So make sure things don't go in the red square, and then the balls floof out. You all spread out, throw the balls, do it again.
Anarchy is really good for that because I just shoot 3 in a line, and all the dregs that walk through it just die.
That's fantastic.
And you just worry about the big boys.
Gotta rub the anarchy in our faces again, eh?
Listen, we can go and run the raid.
Oh, I know. I don't like the verticality of the beginning part. I don't like sparrow racing. I don't enjoy the end.
I know
boss
we can
fight.
cheese the first part, so we only need to do one thing.
Yeah.
Because that's easy enough.
Well, and I don't really need to run the sparrow race because y'all can do it for me.
Yeah,
so basically, I'll just sit there until the end, and then I'll dunk some balls in the things, I think is how it works, and then shoot the guy.
No, I don't know.
I don't even know. We've done that raid like twice.
We'll get it. There's Tommy's matchbook, I guess. Have you played around with that yet?
I've tried it. I was never a big fan on the weapons that damage yourself, like the a la Touch of Malice.
Yeah.
But Touch of Malice was a monster in certain situations. And so I just haven't played around with Tommy's yet, and I haven't gotten. I think there's a catalyst for it. Maybe I haven't done the quest to finish that quest you get from Banshee yet. I assume there'll be a catalyst for it, and we'll see what that does. But
yeah, I don't. It seems to me like it also takes like a little bit of time to spin up. I've never really been a huge fan of weapons that activate, i.e., like spinning up on Suros. And also kind of dependent on your setup. Like it's good in a Rift, and maybe good with One-Eyed Mask on a Titan, but the Rift, like you just have to stand still and shoot out. It doesn't really pique my interest that much. It sounds cool though. Looks cool.
It does sound cool and look cool.
We are going to be getting Fourth Horseman back. That's going to be cool.
I never really used it that much in D1, but excited.
That was like the original melt anything that's 2 feet away from you.
Yeah.
Everything just dies.
Lord of Wolves.
You'll be able to kill. I'm guessing, this is just speculation, but I'm guessing you'll be able to kill people in wells with it, kill people with like bubble titans. We'll probably be able to step in there and just pop, 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 pop. Dead.
Well, anything else? Anything else you want to talk about? Destiny or non-Destiny related, Troggy?
I'm just happy. I'm just happy that Trials is back. You guys are friends of mine. I've been hanging out with you guys for this entire drought of PvP content. There's a lot of people like you guys that just wanted this. And even I was happy that this moment is back. Like Friday when I'm at work and it's almost reset and I'm like, hey, I wonder what that map's gonna be.
Yeah, right.
Or what loadout I'm gonna use, because if it's really long, I'm gonna have that's exciting, and I hope it keeps rolling out. I hope the replayability is awesome and people are excited about it. Been a good weekend.
We've missed Charles a lot. And now that we've played it a bunch on his back, like it still has the same mechanical feel to it. As
Man,
in the strategies are the same.
There were multiple times yesterday where my heart was literally jumping out of my chest. And I was like, yo, I'm about to have a heart attack, go to the hospital. Like, everybody's dead, I'm the last person, and I'm trying to figure out how I'm gonna 1v2 or 1v3 or 1v1 these people. And I'm much more confident now than I was in Destiny 1 at pulling those off. I kind of think I just kind of understand what I'm able to do now, whereas before I didn't necessarily, I didn't have that. So
And the other thing that I think is so much better in, let's say, let's take a look at launch of Trials of Osiris versus the launch of Trials of the Nine. There are hero moments now.
yes.
He can clutch up and get a 1v3. Like, you're able to do that versus before it didn't feel, they took a lot of the tools out of your hands, a lot of the one shot, a lot of the things that you just didn't feel like it wasn't as fun to watch because I wasn't, whatever you did, like, yeah, maybe you'll win. No, but like now in this 1v3, I'm like, oh, what's he going to do? Like, oh, he got one. Is he going to get the next one down? Like, it's exciting to
It's exciting.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, for sure, 100%.
With the other thing, like, that's also partially a function of it being just elimination and 3v3. One, you'll maybe get one, maybe two supers a game. So, like in survival, for example, if you're last guardian standing and they have a bunch of lives left, a lot of the times the move is just to jump off the map because you don't want to give them super energy. With Elim, like, how soon their supers charge is not as important as it used to be, I don't think, anyways.
Yeah, it seems slower.
It's slower, and two, like, the way the rounds work, the way it's elimination, and you have reses, so when you put people down, you have a focal point of where they can be respawned from, allows you to try and make those 1v3s, and you have that option to go for it. And like you said, it makes really exciting moments. It makes for a lot of fun plays, and I don't know, it's really enjoyable. But I have a lot of fun with
since
it.
you're both Trials players, do you miss Angel of Light or the quick res?
No, not at all.
Rezzing in D2 frustrates me sometimes, especially because, like, yesterday I had an instance where I would have won the round, except I couldn't get the res because they tossed a skip nade out at me. Mm-hmm. And they ended up getting the res, and the skip nade damaged me so much that I couldn't get the res before they pushed.
Yep.
In Destiny 1, I think rezzing was a little too easy. You could just get the res really quickly, especially with the quick res. It didn't matter if they were shooting at you. And if, say, like, somebody, like a weaker player on your team could get the res, pick up the person who was stronger, and the stronger person could like clutch it from there, even if the other person died. Didn't matter. Mm-hmm. Now it's like you have to make sure your ghost is 100% clean. You can't be shot or damaged by anything. You can't stand in a solar nade and get a res. Like, I don't like it, but I also think it's better at the same time.
I think it's a good thing. I think it works really well, and I think it's it forces a little bit more strategy in reviving, and you do have the extended timers. Like, if you pick one up the next time that person needs to get res, it's now like 11 seconds instead of 7 or whatever. But I definitely don't miss that quick res. The quick res was dumb. The fact that you can just sprint through someone and hold X, and then also like getting super energy from getting reses was,
I kind of missed that.
Well, it made things easy. Yeah. Especially if you win a round and your last guardian standing, and you just get 2 quick reses before the next round, and then you get more super energy. I feel like that kind of is counterintuitive to
fair.
Actual strategic gameplay. But yeah, I don't know. Like, Elim in this context is so much nicer. Even just comparing Elim in Trials to Elim in just a normal playlist, just having that high stakes of a passage makes it so much different. It's
definitely more of a fun and engaging game mode when Trials is attached to it, and there's rewards and a passage and things you're working towards. I don't really enjoy playing Elimination in the Elimination playlist, because it's not the same, and it's on different maps, and it doesn't matter. And like,
when people leave,
that's really bad. Yeah, people leave. But
they have to put some sort of, and I get there's error codes every which way from Sunday, but there's got to be something to address leaving. I think personally, I just, as a solo player, primarily, I see it a lot. Like, every game of Crucible I've had this week, I would say over a third of the Crucible games I had this week were not full teams.
Yeah, and that just depreciates the gameplay for everyone else, and I don't think I mean, I know people don't really think about that, but even the team that gets the higher number of players, it's not as good for them. It's not as good experience because you don't have an even team. You like get easy fights because you have like 6v3 or whatever. But I don't think it would be that hard to have upon holding X sending a signal to say that, hey, I left this game, give me a suspension. Like, I don't know.
Right?
I don't think it'd be that hard, but I don't know.
Versus
They
the
won't be
error
able to
code
implement that
suspensions?
until they figured out a way to stop penalizing error codes. Like, it should not be the same as someone leaving a game should not be the same as someone getting error coded from a game.
No, it shouldn't, but it already does that in comp. Like,
it already penalizes. Like,
I know it does.
Yeah. I guess the thing is, they can't really distinguish whether you got error coded or you just shut your Xbox off. Right.
Yeah, I could see there's probably some difficulties, being able to tell between the two.
But I feel like with leaving, I mean, in comp you already get the strike, but even in quick play, I feel like maybe just raise the limit, like give them a penalty for holding X to leave, and then when that stacks up to like 5 in a month or something, slap them with like a 1 week penalty. I don't know.
Yeah, something like that.
I don't know.
Anyways, overall, I'm super happy with Season of the Worthy.
I'm excited.
A lot of bunker grind to do, a lot of title grind to do. Legendary Lost Sectors we haven't even stepped into yet.
I did.
I finally realized this morning that you don't have to do all of level 1 and all of level 2 to get the third perk on the Crucible one.
Yeah.
So I finally figured out how to get my Crucible Warmind bits going, and I got like 50 just from playing Clash earlier. Like, that's such a better system.
Before we started doing like a lot of trials, we made sure to like level that up because we knew that would be getting a lot of drops, and it's been fine
you
now.
Never have to touch a bounty ever again, essentially, and you're probably going to be fine on the green.
Yep.
Like yesterday or whatever. Like, so we got the thing, and then I forgot about it. Like, yeah, I grabbed bounties, but I didn't hand any like things in. We just played a bunch of trials, and then I went to hand stuff in. I was like, oh, I have like 490 of these.
Yep.
Sick.
It was really rough at the beginning, but now it's fine. I'm not worried about it anymore. But it's a big grind to do all of that, and I'm excited for the PvE stuff, and I'm super excited to just keep getting better and do more trials help. We have had a chance to do 4 flawless runs with 4 different people this weekend so far, and we had 2
close ones.
We had 2 or 3 close ones. We had three close ones.
3 close ones, yeah. That
we lost right before flawless. So, I mean, overall we're very close and doing very well, and it's just going to keep getting better. So.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to keep blaming it on the fact that I was really tired and you were like feeling sick. I feel like we could have had those flawlesses, no problem.
Today.
I think I slept a lot better last night.
Yeah, I feel a lot better than yesterday, for sure.
I was doing some strike with buds, and I was there like, hey, you want to do another one? I was like, I don't know, guys. I think I need to stop. So I turned my Xbox off yesterday, slept 12 hours.
Nice.
Out of nowhere.
Yeah. Your body's telling you need it, for sure.
Called that grind catching up to me.
Uh-huh. Yeah, I was not too happy when Friday night we hopped off, like watching Netflix. Probably fell asleep at around, I don't know, like 1 or so. My phone rings at 10 to 3, and I have to get out of bed and drive to fix something, and I got home at 5 in the morning. I was like, well, I was looking forward to sleeping, but it's like I'm not getting enough sleep tonight.
Rough timing on everything this weekend, for sure. I mean,
yesterday I got called a bunch during
between you being on call and getting called out, and me just getting hit with whatever sickness it was, and being
COVID-20.
exhausted. It was it was just rough. For sure. It was not the experience that I had hoped for the first weekend of trials, but I know there's going to be lots of other experiences.
Oh yeah. It's still great.
It'll be great. Like today.
Yeah, we got a couple things to finish up for like YouTube and stuff, but this is cool news. We had someone comment on our YouTube video about trial strategies that they got to the lighthouse for the first time. Thanks to our they said like great video, finally got to the lighthouse. And I was like, that's let me see if I can find it here. Oh, that was really cool. Love the videos. Just got lighthouse for the first time or something.
Great video. Thanks for the house. Jeez, if I was giving out houses. Thanks for the help. Finally got to the lighthouse. And I was like, that's really cool that like our YouTube video is able to help somebody.
Awesome, yeah.
So I mean, that's why like that's part of the reason we're making them, right? So yeah, definitely a slow grind on YouTube, but it's been a good one. I'm enjoying doing all of the different types of contents and things.
Getting better at each of them and improving. This podcasting has been really fun. Sometimes it's like a little tricky because I mean, what happened with this one? We got the dog, we had stuff going on in the house, and what have you. My phone ringing, but
it was fun. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for joining us. Usually we ask where people can find you, but you're not really creating content anywhere, right? So people can find you chirping in all the Destiny raids.
I am hey, it's Troggy on Twitter and in the BxP Discord. Those are the only two places you can find me. So
there you go. He'll be lurking. For those that don't know, Troggy has been I actually wanted to ask this. How did we meet? Did we meet through Guardian Outpost? Or am I crazy?
I don't quite remember if it was Guardian Outpost or if it was through Mysterious, but I remember they said,
Mysterious.
hey, there are these two lovely people that are doing trials stuff, and they tend to help people. You should check them out. And then here we are.
Yeah, that was years ago.
It was Mysterious. 100% Mysterious. I think Mysterious and us met through Guardian Outpost. Yeah. That sounds correct.
Big shout out to Guardian Outpost. I don't think he streams anymore, but he just had another kid. Yeah, it's a small world. It's crazy. Like even when we were doing our BxP League, we had some people sign up that like knew people that we knew from Destiny 1 and stuff. So the Destiny community is not as big as some people would think. It's big, but it's not crazy big.
I feel like a lot of the Destiny community is fairly involved in online communities as well. Maybe more so than some other games. It feels like everybody is like watching streams and part of YouTube and different things. I mean, I know there are people that aren't, but
yeah, that was always kind of weird when we would pick someone up off of LFG. Because that'd be where we would come in contact with people that weren't through streams. Because usually when we play Destiny, we're finding people through streams or our stream or mutual friends or whatever. But yeah.
All right, we're rambling now.
Yeah.
Thank you for joining us. Appreciate it. And
anytime. Thanks for the invite.
No problem. It was fun.
We'll see you at the lighthouse.
Yes, we will.
Have
a good day, guys.
Thanks. You too.
Bye, everybody.
Thanks for listening, everyone.
If you want more of us, you can find everything BxP at babexpete.com, including links to all of our socials, YouTube, merch, and our discount codes for Into the AM clothing and Advanced GG energy drinks.
Our main focus is our live stream at mixer.com/babexpete, where we live stream video games and foster an amazing community. Peace.